What if the fate of millions hinged on a single meeting? As world leaders chant the word peace, the reality of war lurks like a shadow in the background. Trump believes he can sway Putin to end the conflict, while Zelensky promises dialogue, despite not setting foot in Russia. But what if their words are mere echoes in a vast chasm of suffering? In a world filled with lofty promises and political posturing, one truth emerges: for every grand declaration, pain deepens. In Washington, as Zelensky arrives amid a spectacle of flags and cameras, the sound of genuine concern is drowned out by the chaos of diplomacy. His allies greet him with smiles, yet tension crackles in the air, a stark contrast to the staged unity before them. Similar to a game of chess, Putin sits calmly, knowing he has the upper hand. His silence speaks volumes, while Trump, ever confident, prepares to take the stage to declare that the war can indeed end. But what cost will accompany such a bold statement? 2.5 hours of negotiations transpire, classic Trump maneuvering, hinting at grand solutions yet carrying no binding commitments. Meanwhile, Zelensky and his team repeat a mantra of readiness for change, their voices resolute against the backdrop of unyielding destruction. The specter of a meeting in Budapest looms ominously, further framing the narrative. Here, two leaders hold the destiny of countless lives, while the pressed faces of their compatriots reveal a different story, a quest for true peace overshadowed by their own fragility. Amid flashy presentations and manicured photos, the reality of Ukrainian resilience remains. While the leaders discourse about hypothetical peace, back home, fear mounts. New mobilizations flow from the shadows, with citizens prepared for the burden of conflict, their lives turned into bold lines on a bureaucratic spreadsheet. The world is not a stage, it is the fabric of existence, teetering between the reality of war and the hollow promises of peace. As Trump and Putin contemplate their next moves, the fate of Ukraine is relegated to the background. The threads of power weave a delicate tapestry, oblivious to the ground realities of those who bear the repercussions. Watching from afar, Ukrainians wonder, does anyone truly comprehend the stakes? Words, so often like bullets, can wound deeper than the flesh. So, when the lofty calls for negotiation ring out, what truly lies beneath? The heart of the matter beats quietly, filled with anxiety and longing for a peace that seems ever elusive. As autumn approaches, weariness settles over the nation. The sound of promises is sterile against the hardship of daily life, fluttering like fallen leaves in the wind. Each negotiation seems less about building bridges and more about the survival of political legacies. In this intricate dance of diplomacy, reality paints a far different picture from the hopeful dialogue showcased on screens: an ongoing struggle between political ambition and the human cost of war. With every new rumor of change, the pulse of anxiety grows stronger. How long can the light of hope endure against the backdrop of fear? As individuals rise each day to face their own front lines, they seek solace, even as the world spins wildly around them. In the quiet corners of their existence, the true quest for peace churns an undercurrent of resolve where the words of leaders mean less than the actions of those who dare to dream of a better tomorrow. In the previous part, we explored the symbolic significance of Trump and Putin negotiating in Budapest, with Zelensky connecting in a virtual capacity. This scene emphasizes the high stakes of their discussions, where two leaders dictate the course of conflict as another waits in anticipation for peace. The underlying motives of their discussions resonate with an unmistakable American cadence, steeped in self-interest. Trump desires to cement his legacy by ending the war, while Putin strives to reaffirm his dominance on the globe, manipulating Zelensky's plight to secure influence and funding. Amid this urgent rhetoric, the stark reality of war continues to unfold, draping a heavy shroud over the atmosphere. As Zelensky arrives in Washington, the scene transforms into a theatrical display, reminiscent of past meetings. Greeting him are American officials, all smiles and friendly gestures, yet a palpable tension lingers beneath the surface. This isn't the warm welcome of bygone days, there are no fanfares or emotional tributes. Instead, everything feels deliberate, almost mechanical, as if everyone is performing a role in a tired script. Amid this backdrop, Zelensky appears out of place, a guest at a soiree where he's relegated to a child's table. Cameras click incessantly, capturing the facade of cooperation, while discussions occur away from the public eye, murmured and weighted with implication. To the spectators, the reunion is straightforward, yet Zelensky senses a deeper, troubling reality, a dissonance between rhetoric and consequence. Then comes the moment that shifts the tide. Trump, having just spoken with Putin, returns with a signal that feels as heavy as an ultimatum. Zelensky, seeking reassurance, faces the stark reality that the conversation with Putin is closer to a demand than a dialogue. The press conference amplifies this tension, with Zelensky vocally expressing the urgent desire for peace. His repeated invocation of the word world seems more like an attempt to sell a narrative than an actual call for resolution. As he works to convey urgency, the soft echoes of his voice back home in Kiev contrast sharply with the fervor in Washington. There, decisions about the fate of the nation are being made without him, leaving him in a paradoxical position of powerlessness. Does he truly have a seat at this table, or is he merely a pawn in a grand political game? In a high-stakes world defined by political theater, the tension surrounding global discussions grows ever more palpable. Leaders speak fervently about peace, yet beneath the surface, shadows loom large. The Zelensky, with a forced smile, finds himself at the center of an ultimatum. He expresses optimism about negotiations, declaring, "We are ready to talk." Yet, his eyes betray a deeper uncertainty, hinting at the pressure mounting behind closed doors. Consider the weight of the word peace, repeated incessantly in speeches. It's almost as if a new advertising campaign has been launched, peace is coming. Yet, at home in Kiev, growing whispers reflect a different reality. The populace begins to grasp that decisions regarding their fate may be taken without them, formulated in secret meetings far from their gaze. As the camera captures the smiles of leaders on stage, do not be deceived, these are mere performances. The true machinations unfold beyond sight. The world is now riveted on the potential meeting between Trump and Putin in Budapest. This choice of location is telling. Hungary has long pledged allegiance to Putin, making it a fitting backdrop for such negotiations. With the media poised like hawks, Zelensky prepares for a role that is more spectator than participant. Why Budapest? Because the Hungarian government under Orbán has signaled that returning all Ukrainian territories might not be feasible. A new narrative is taking shape, one that suggests a compromise may soon surface. But what is truly at stake? Sources hint that Trump may propose a division of territories. A plan that aligns perfectly with Putin's ambitions. It's a risk that could drastically reshape the landscape of Ukrainian sovereignty, and one that Zelensky fears deeply. What will happen if the very essence of Ukrainian identity faces division? While the world watches, politicians pontificate, and the smell of strategy fills the air, real lives hang in the balance. Each player aims to secure their own vision of peace, but the cost seems insufferable. Can they negotiate peace without truly understanding its price? As the air grows thick with uncertainty, the question lingers, in a game of bluffing and hidden agendas, who will emerge unscathed when the truth resurfaces? What happens when the curtain finally falls on this elaborate performance? The stakes have never been higher, a shocking decision lies just beyond the horizon. In a world dominated by political theater, a chilling reality lies beneath the surface. The stakes are high as leaders claim to seek peace, all while Ukraine braces for challenges unseen. Instead of genuine diplomacy, the facade of discussions hides a crisis of mobilization. Citizens, pulled into the fray, are finding themselves drafted into a war effort, all couched in the comforting language of duty and patriotism. But is this truly a noble calling or simply a desperate attempt to mask a failing economy? Trump, aiming to secure a legacy, inching closer to Putin's vision, is turning the Zelensky border negotiations into a strategic move. This newly drawn line symbolizes control, but at what cost to Ukrainian sovereignty and identity? It's not just geopolitics, it's about the survival of a nation and its people. As the facade crumbles, what lies beyond the diplomatic smiles is a gnawing fear. Are the divides we see prophetic of a deeper fracture within the country's integrity? In the shadows of press conferences, the spectacle unfolds as political leaders engage in discussions about a glorious new world order. Meanwhile, Ukrainians are thrust into a difficult reality, a mobilization effort that seems to draw on everyone, from retirees to the young, under the guise of protecting their homeland. Each mention of patriotism now rings hollow as people are coerced into serving military fronts, often without compensation or support. The government pushes a narrative that ties personal sacrifice to national duty, yet that very duty feels more like exploitation amid disarray. As autumn settles in, a somber realization emerges. The loud promises of politicians clash with the quiet desperation of citizens who yearn for silence over slogans and stability over uncertainty. Beneath the glowing smiles and elaborate displays rests the truth. While leaders promise futures built on trust, the everyday person wonders, when will a peaceful reality emerge? Is the call for cooperation simply a plunging dive into chaos masked as team spirit? While the world watches, the reality in Ukraine echoes a different sentiment, people grappling with survival against the backdrop of grand political narratives. Are words enough to end the conflict? Or will the persistent clashes redefine the boundaries of war and peace? Among the clamor for change, the question lingers, who truly stands to benefit from these gestures of diplomacy, and at what price for the people caught in the middle? Thus, two forces are revealed, the clamor of political promises and the quiet, urgent need for peace that reverberates through the hearts of citizens. As time passes, the silence grows louder than any diplomatic language, beckoning for the truth to emerge from behind the curtain of power plays. A reckoning is on the horizon. Will anyone heed the call for genuine resolution? In the shadow of empty promises, reality bites hard. Leaders echo peace while reality grinds on, forcing citizens into unpaid toil. But why mimic victory when defeat looms? The chilling truth emerges, faith in talks shrouds preparation for endless strife. When rulers strip wages from the weary, survival mode kicks in, extinguishing illusions of triumph. Not all survive to witness the end. So, distrust peace speeches, scrutinize deeds. Observe the vowers, the speakers, the mute. For silence now roars louder than any decree. Imagine Zelensky's trembling hand on that podium in Washington, the cold metal feel of the microphone, its faint hum resonating like a distant thunder. Amid the flashes, the cloying scent of polished wood in sweat-drenched suits lingered. A flashback, years ago, a simpler Ukraine, the earthy aroma of fresh bread on market stalls, children's laughter cutting through crisp autumn air, now a phantom memory blurred by mortar dust. Back then, hope felt tangible, not this brittle veneer. Yet here, in the present's glare, exhaustion seeps in. Do you ever ponder how leaders trade smiles while lives shatter? The grit of unprosperous soil under fingernails, the aching backs of those coerced into trenches, transforms patriotism into hollow chains. Fevered rhetoric about financial ruin overshadows the real devastation, an economy teetering on collapse, whispered economic woes echoing in emptied coffers. And the West's aid? Dispersed whimsically, fueling official feasts while folks starve. Could this be the twist that humbles the vaunted orators, exposing their theater as farce? Shockingly, while diplomats scheme in ornate halls, ordinary souls endure the raw sting of unpaid labor. Picture the rustle of dry leaves in Ukraine's weary autumn, a season once for harvest joy now stained with fatigue. No glories announced, no shocks revealed, no strategic reveals. The true essence of fall? Bone-deep weariness from ceaseless vows, relentless summoning, hollow chants of unity masking deep discontent. Citizens crave no advancements, just respite. The financial pulse slows, regional funds dwindle to nothing, enterprises shudder one by one, commanders grin amid scarcity. Foreign support trickles through bureaucratic sieves, amplifying elite comforts. Gradually, the nation spirals into a stagnant spiral, each cycle mimicking the last's dread, identical trepidation and vagueness, repeated praises for an elusive brightness. How ironic that rulers proclaim readiness for endurance, mixing overt parleys with covert summons and unfunded ventures. The drained endure excavations, the concealed evade capture, the truth-tellers vanish from frames. Peace morphs into merchandise, hawked and bandied, yet eluding grasp. Each political visage resembles a lyricist peddling tunes nobody heeds. Even at the forefront, murmurs abound, not honors for Ukraine, but subdued hints that resistance nears its limit. Thus, existence unfolds amid penned peace and cerebral carnage. Leaders enact scripted dramas, reporters chase beliefs, inhabitants merely persist day to day. Quarterly, accords are pledged, mobilization enlarges, beneath the veneer of optimism that falls on deaf ears. Each harbors private skirmishes, in spirit. On highways, beneath earth. Nevertheless, those outspoken prevail. Every conflict concludes. Invariably. Though few endure to behold it. Can you fathom a plot twist where the battlefield's whispers predict the diplomat's downfall? The distant rumble of cannons interrupts banquet clinks, forcing a reckoning. Will silence conquer the clamor? The previous part discussed how promises of negotiations and new mobilizations interweave with a lingering sense of disillusionment. Each individual grapples with their personal struggles, whether in their minds, vehicles, or fields. Amidst this, the undeniable truth persists: every conflict eventually reaches its conclusion, though not everyone will witness it. Not everyone witnesses the end of conflicts. Reality often surpasses political proclamations. Instead of believing in the hollow slogans of peace, it's crucial to observe actions. Who speaks truthfully? Who remains silent? In this silence, the true sentiment lurks, echoing louder than any spoken words. For those weary of falsehoods and seeking genuine insights, platforms divulge untold realities often overlooked by mainstream media. Important information lies waiting, revealing the true state of affairs. Remember, true peace isn't something that spontaneously arises, it requires our active pursuit and accountability.